Good evening, darlings. Welcome to our 4th episode of Skits and Quibbles. As always, I open with some quirky stuff. I'm a chartered engineer. I'm going to become a fellow of the engineering and technology. Hey, if you walk into their lovely Grade 1 listed building on Thames River, which is their headquarters, HQ, I counted. There are over 100 portraits of men. Very much like the British comedy. Very diverse. Some of them are bold. I was looking for my soulmate. My mirror image on the comedy circuit. And I think I found her, and I want to share her because she is absolutely awesome. She blew my mind. She's funnier than me. Thank God for that. Let's welcome to the stage the Supermom, Sharon Jackson.
Yeah, it's true. I've got 7 kids by 4 different men, and my husband knows about all of them. But I will explain. I have 2 stepchildren and I have 5 adopted children, all with special needs. So it turns out that I'm a saint and not a slut after all. But I'll explain to you why I had to adopt. So I was born with a kink in my urethra. Yeah, and I'd love to stand up here and do a whole really funny set about my kinky plumbing. But it turns out that it's really hard to take the piss out of. Well, it is. So basically the kink tightens and it doesn't allow what needs to flow. So I have to relax myself. And the only way I can relax myself is to spend 3 hours in the bath every single day to allow it to relax and my bladder to empty. And then if you work that out, that's 49 days a year I now spend in the bath. So last year I spent more time in the bath than Liz trusted in office. And I still did more bloody work than her. But she's still got the pension. But yeah, but being an adoptive parent, I always get asked, do you tell them the truth? What, that crocodiles can't stick their tongues out? You're not going to get licked to death by a crocodile. No, it is that one, am I going to tell them where they come from? My eldest child came to me when he was 9 years old. I think he was already aware that he didn't come from me. But there was one lie that I have told, but I feel that I did it as a good parent. I don't think it was a nasty thing. So my youngest son, when he was 5 years old, his birthday was at the end of the month, but my payday was 3 days later. So I convinced him that his birthday wasn't on the 26th. It was on the 29th of the month. And he went to school and everyone sang happy birthday to him on the 26th. I said, I'm really sorry, darling, they got it wrong. To be fair to me, I wasn't there at the birth. There was a couple of things that happened to me during lockdown. So the breakdown of my marriage was one of them. But because of that, I then found myself finding my old feminist roots. I was a feminist when I was younger. I was on every single march. And we were in lockdown, we were doing Zoom gigs, and I thought, sod it. I'm going to burn my bra. I'm just going to let them swing. And my boobs are, they're quite big. I mean, I'm used to them. They've grown on me. But my bra size is a 38J. So I'll explain it to the people who don't know, men. Right, so it is. 38 is for the circumference of my back. And J, the J stands for jizz catchers. But yeah, and I've always wondered, how much my boobs weigh. So there's actually an app called Curvy Kate that you can you put in your bra size, and it tells you how much your boobs weigh in chocolate. So I like tapped hinges catchers, and apparently my bra, my boobs weigh exactly the same as 79 Cadbury's cream eggs. But if you think about it, 79, that means that even if my boobs were made out of chocolate, I'd still have one bigger than the other. It'd be nice just to nibble it back to size and balance myself, but you know, I let them swing, and that was fine in like the first lockdown, and then it just went on and on and on. So by the third lockdown, this really dreadful smell, it was putrid, was following me around the house. And at first I thought it was just my teenage son that had come back to live with me. But then I realised that moment I realised it was coming from me. And my GP agreed to see me face to face. He regretted it the minute I walked into that room. There was no windows open or anything, even during COVID. And he examined where the smell was coming from. And he explained to me that what I had going on was a yeast infection underneath my boob. So that meant while everybody else was out there baking banana bread during lockdown, I was fermenting my own loaf underneath my left boob. He then went on to say that it was the worst case of boob rot that he had ever seen. And would I mind for medical science if he took a photograph? Now, you have to remember, this is back in the third lockdown. We were out there every Thursday night clapping for the NHS. Who am I to deny the medical profession a picture of my boob? So I agreed. And I thought he was going to book me in for a mammogram or something to do this. No, he just reached down to his briefcase and pulled out his iPhone and started clicking away. He gave me some ointment. And a bit of advice. Wash your dirty bitch. And then sent me on my way. And this was fine. About 2 weeks later, I'd put the cream on. Everything was sorted out. Everything was fine. And then my best friend, who also has really large boobs, she's my bosom buddy, she said to me, I think I have what you had. And I said, look, don't worry about it. Google boob rot and let me know. About 15 minutes later, she messaged me back and said, is this what you had? I looked at it and said, not only is that what I had, that's my boob.
You have head as a brain, you've got heart, both vibrating, creating most energy. Then you have your gut,
Yeah.
which is linked to your instinct. So you've got 3 brains, not like as many as octopus, probably even more than octopus. Octopus has 8 brains.
Yeah.
What did those 3 brains tell you? That you ended up performing the role that you earn.
Do you know
by
what?
doing it.
I was watching Jonathan Ross when he was doing The Last Resort, so way back, before he was really, really famous, on Channel 4, and they had Maya Angelou on as one of the guests. And I sat there and watched this woman and listened to her story. The very next day, for a kid that was dyslexic and hates reading, I went out and brought her book. I read it within about 3 hours, went back to get the second one. They didn't have the second one. I got on a train to Charing Cross Road from Lewisham to get the book because I needed to know more. And she has been my inspiration. She's got me through life. I have on my "And Still I Rise" tattooed on my wrist because I just think that
On your left side, close to your heart.
I have to. Yeah, she was just amazing, and she changed it. And now I like. So I'm doing my solo show. So I am a counsellor. I am a local counsellor, and I never thought that I could sit there. I sit on the Children's Services Board. I sit on the co-parenting board. I make a difference to lots of children's lives. I fostered over 50 kids, and I adopted the 5.
Amazing.
I do training on the brain damage that my children have got. I have a voice now. Do you know what I mean? And I've gone through it, and I needed to go through all that so I could do it.
Yes.
So my solo show is called So Finally I'm in Labour.
Yes. Oh, what? That is funny.
It is. It's good, and it's about.
It's good.
And it's about. So I think one of the other things is when you find out you can't have kids, especially as a woman, and I am just talking about as a woman, that you get told all the time that it's the most wonderfulest feeling, it's the most precious thing in the world, and I thought I was going to miss out on that. Do you know what I mean? Like, you feel like I'm not going to get that. And then I stumbled into politics. I was asked to do it because I do lots of community work. They came and found me and said, would I stand? And I wasn't expected to do it, and I won. Me up on stage, like, just winning was the most wonderfulest, because it was a validation from all the people that for all my hard work that I'd done. And now I want to pay it, and now I want to pay it back. But yeah, I want to pay it back.
And you're paying it forward and paying it back.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. He flew from Ireland today. It's amazing, delightful, hilarious. Dan Stevens!
Hi, my name is Dan Stevens. I'm a stand-up comedian, but I identify as a long-distance trucker. My pronouns are... I know you're probably thinking, that fella looks like he eats vegan people. Don't worry, I don't. Just their cats. I was recently told that I look like a man who never fails to start a lawnmower at the first attempt. No, it's not true. I like my lawnmowers like I like my relationships. No strings attached. I hear a lot of people nowadays, over the past few years since social media came about and the internet was easier to access, they say that kids are growing up too quick, they're maturing too quick, hitting puberty earlier. I totally disagree. I just want to say that. And I apologise if I seem a bit hungover. I just celebrated my 21st last week. Trying to roll back the years, like growing this mullet. I had one when I was younger, I'm trying to really reach back into the past. You know what they say, a mullet is a business at the front, party at the back. I'll tell you, one good gust of wind and all of a sudden I realised that business isn't going too well anymore. I was told that I am a straight man, but I was told that if I was a part of the gay community, that I would be classified as a bear. That's a very hairy, cuddly, friendly gay or bisexual man. Now, I have friends on the comedy circuit, and during Gay Pride season, they say to me, "Oh, you're a bear. You're a bear." I hear it all the time. They tell me so much, and sometimes when you get told something so much over and over again, you might start to believe it, The most disappointing thing about all this is that this has been going on since I was a cub. Yeah, I shit in woods as well. One of the most disappointing things that's been kind of leveled towards me looking like this is that someone said to me recently in Dublin that I look like a racist from the deep south. Yeah. I said back to them, how dare you even suggest that I look like I'm from County Cork? No, I'm not from the deep south, Getting married next summer to my cousin. Oh my God, no. It's my second cousin that I've married. Divorced the first one. I'm Irish, you know, and we're a minority as well. And back in the day, like in the UK, we used to get discriminated against. You know, you'd go to pubs and cafes and restaurants and offices, and on the wall outside there'd be a sign saying, "No blacks, no dogs, no Irish." You know, but that would not be accepted these days. Not letting a dog into an office.
How did you get into comedy? Because you are up and coming, a rising star of the open comedy circuit, an international comedian already.
So I grew up in a very humorous household. My dad, he kind of covers all his issues with humour. You know, everything is a joke. He'd make fun of us in a fun way as children. I have 5 siblings, so and then between all of us siblings as well, there would have been a lot of you know, slagging and just not competition, but we would kind of make fun of each other quite a lot. Yeah, from that then I worked as an electrician on building sites for a long time, for maybe like, you know, 15 years or something like that. I travelled quite a lot, but building sites are just when you're working with tradesmen, you know, there's humour is the currency, I suppose. And again, I think it might come down to a lack of wanting to deal with any emotion as well. Whether it was in work or earlier on in school, it wasn't encouraged to show emotion because you would be seen as weak. So that's the kind of it's like it's in the way it's like a schoolyard mentality on a building site as well.
Yes,
it's a little bit like that. You know,
well
people
said.
play tricks on each other, and you know you have to, you know, you just have to put on a brave face all the time.
Sounds like a lot of emotional labour.
Well, yeah, there's not much productive, you know, emotional or, I guess, personal conversations in that environment. But yeah, that led on to then I got off the sites, and then I started to I had a brother who was suffering a lot with his mental health, so I started a degree in Dublin City in a part-time degree in the evenings. I was in 2021, a counselling and psychotherapy degree. So just to find out, get more insight into this kind of thing. And I've always been fascinated with psychology as well. So I did a year of that. I passed my first year in that. But during that time, when there's a class in the counselling and psychotherapy, there's a module called counselling skills, where you have to in the exam, I guess, and you practice it all year. You do 10 minutes as a client and 10 minutes as a therapist in a fishbowl, so that the 8 other members of the classroom are watching, and also the lecturer, and she marks you on how you're doing. But it was during this time that when I was the client, a lot of things came out with humour involved. But when I was the therapist, I'd be sitting there looking at the client, and the automatic thoughts that were coming to me were quite humorous, and I thought, I can't.
Wonderful. Now, where do you see yourself, and often when people interview you for a job?
Well, realistically, I think to support the artistic side, as in performing stand-up, I think there has to be an income stream. So, to me, that would be in. I have started a podcast, and trying to get that to a stage where I can monetize that, and then I've started to run nights as well in Dublin. I have a comedy club called Suburban Comedy Club, where I'm trying to bring stand-up comedy to the suburbs of Dublin, because I'm from the suburbs, and I know that people don't have much to do, and it creates a lot of depression, and especially in the winter nights, it would be great for, not just for that, but for couples to, you know, hand the kids over to the grandmother for a night and get out and just I don't think you should have to go into a big city to watch comedy. I think you should have it locally as well.
I agree.
You know, and growing my podcast.
Yes.
Which is called The Truth Is In There. Just started it about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, The Truth Is In There.
Yeah,
What is it about? Oh,
well,
tell us. I mean, you
it's
can
very
plug
simple.
things in here. You
It's
know.
very simple.
We want to support you.
Yeah, I just go through my Google searches.
That
Yeah.
is very painfully authentic.
Yes.
Oh, I couldn't
Sometimes
do
too authentic.
that. Too authentic, apparently.
When it gets
Can-
medical.
Okay, so give us a couple of searches that are...
Well, it could be anything. So, like, there's one of them was Garden House, which was just, I was looking for the phone number of the local Chinese takeaway. And then that led me on to a story about that night. And what was I doing? And why was I feeling so vulnerable that I needed a Chinese takeaway? You know what I mean? And there's a thing. So one of the stories would be that in the local Chinese takeaway, every time I called them, they go, "Yes, come now." Like there's no like 10 minutes or 15 minutes.
Oh, so it's all ready for you?
Yeah. So I was thinking, that's not right, you know. That's a bit too that's a bit too fast food. You know what I mean? It's a bit too fresh. What's going on here?
Yes.
So this search brought me onto the story of that. I parked outside the Chinese takeaway, and then I rang. I was waiting in the wings. The salt and chili wings. No, waiting in the wings. So when she said, I thought they were like just taking it from some buffet or something. I didn't know what was going on. So I sat out there. I was like a greyhound in the traps, you know, ready to go. And she said, "Yeah, come now." I was like, "Okay." Boom, got out of the car, straight in. And she's like, "Oh, can you just wait there?" And I was waiting about 10 minutes. So obviously they're preempting that people are going to take time to travel there, which is okay. I was happy enough with that outcome, you know.
Amazing.
So that's one of the things. That's
Yes.
just from Garden House. So you can get
Garden House,
you can get
yes.
the very from one term. It brings you back to that moment, and you think, why did I do that? What was the result? And you know, you can learn a lot about yourself from it as well. And you know, maybe you could get material from it. I'm
Oh,
gonna
of
have
course.
guests on when I have the infrastructure in place.
Can I be your guest?
Yeah, of
I
course
would
you
love to. I'll fly
Yeah.
to Dublin.
Yeah.
I may stay there, depending how we go.
Mm.
I love Ireland, so depending how we go. I'm already inviting myself on your floor. I'll bring a sleeping bag. We can do Netflix all weekend. Darlings, are you ready for our headliner this evening? Yes! It is an amazing comedian that I've known for over 5 years. He's one of my best friends on the comedy circuit. His name is Emmanuel Paul. Welcome, Emmanuel, to the stage. Woo!
I like my women how I like my audience. Captive. Sorry, I meant captivating. Yeah. Because the other one's a lawsuit. Well, I've got a problem with privilege, yeah. I have a problem with other people's privilege, yeah. Especially in comedy, you know. I'm sick of people with ugly privilege, you know. It's like, look, I can't tell jokes about getting dumped, you know. It's obvious I dumped her, you know. And I can't be that comedian, "Oh, no one will go out with me." Obviously, people want to go out with me. Come on. Look at the dimples. I've got dimples, man. It's not fair. You get ugly comedians who write mediocre jokes and they get rocketed through, you know. They get ahead, or not head, but they still get ahead. You know, it's not fair. We need to balance out the tables where good-looking comedians and ugly comedians get the same amount of laughs for mediocre jokes. You know, I want to say something mediocre too, you know. I'm from East London, yeah, and I've got 7 brothers, yeah, and their names are Andrew, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and Don. Yeah, that's right, you guessed it, I'm Muslim. No, not really, I'm Christian. But at the end of the day, yeah, I got a question, right? It's about evolution, yeah, I have a problem with it, yeah. Let me give you 2 examples of I think evolution is, yeah. Number 1, you get the rhinoceros, yeah, that's got a hard outer shell, a long horn, because, you know, hyenas kept on messing with it, yeah, so it developed those things. An example 2, yeah, you get scorpion, yeah, that's got a hard outer shell, 2 pincers and a poisonous tail, yeah? And it developed those because the cockroaches kept on messing with it, yeah? So what I'm saying is irritation breeds evolution, yeah? My question is, why aren't black people bulletproof? You know, and I'm from East London, and we're not even stab-proof, yeah? Because where I'm from, yeah, it's record numbers of stabbings. It's just going through the roof. It's getting absolutely disgusting. But at the end of the day, that's what you get for heckling me. Yeah, I was working out in the gym, yeah? And I was like, I looked to my left, and there was this big white man, tattoos all over him, bald, and he was just looking at me like this, like, And I moved over there, and it was like, and he followed me like, and I was saying to myself, is this guy racist or gay? You know, it is leg day, and my gluteus was at its maximus. So I can't blame him for looking, yeah? So I'm thinking to myself, I'm from East London, I'm from the streets, yeah? And I'm thinking to myself in scenarios, because I'm thinking 3 separate scenarios. Scenario A, I stand up and say, oi, where are you looking at, yeah? Guaranteed the next day I'll be walking funny, yeah, if he's racist, yeah? But if he's like gay, guaranteed the next day also I'll be walking funny. But at least I have a bottle of Prosecco in my stomach. But there's also a third scenario, which is totally ignore him and carry on your workout and just enjoy the fact that someone desires you, you know? Man or woman, desire is desire. It's the same thing. There is no separation in the desires, yeah? So all I did is just squats extra slowly. I was like, you enjoy the show, huh? Take a look at this rock-hard ass. You know, but fast forward now, I'm sitting down in the steam room, and this guy comes and sits right next to me. The whole place is empty, you know. The whole place is empty, but he sits down right next to me, look at me dead in the eye, and says, have I seen you somewhere before, mate? I turn to him and go, no, mate, I've never been to jail before. And so, a bit of background about myself now, and I think I know where I recognise him from, because, like, I actually work for the NHS, yeah? And you're probably thinking, I've seen you before. You probably have, because I work in a sexual health clinic. So basically, this guy wasn't gay or racist. He was just some guy with an STI. It's just life is like that, you know. Because like every year, every September 11th, I get really sad, yeah, because my dad worked in the Twin Towers, you know. But the saddest thing about this whole story, he survived, you know, because it's like he abandoned me as a kid. No, abandonment's a bit strong. You know, my dad would come and visit me every 4 years, you know. I would call him the World Cup dad. And so the fact is that the reason why he, like, look, I grew up in the 90s here, and the reason why he had so many boys is because this was the Michael Jackson era, the Jackson 5 era. He wanted to have his own Jackson 5 family. You know, as I said, my brother's names are Andrew, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And guess what our group name was going to be? The Disciples. You know, and I was going to be lead singer, but unfortunately I couldn't sing, you know, so like he just gave up on us and check in every 4 years, you know. And the thing is now, I asked my dad, how did you survive 9/11? How did you survive? Like, were you rescuing people? Were you like, come on, Martin, come on, I'll follow me, I'll lead you the way. He said, nah, son. I said, why? Why didn't you help anyone? He said, son, when's my birthday? I was like, oh yeah, September the 10th. Okay, oh, and he said, oh, I couldn't go to work because I had a hangover. And I'm like, what? You were late to work? He said, yeah. I was like, oh my God, black man time saved my dad. You know, but I do have to say to myself, he survived September 11th and abandoned me as a kid. I'm like, how much luck can one guy get? I got, because the other day, yeah, I'm 6'4", you know, because that's why I have to sit down, because if I stand up, my head's out of the camera, yeah? So spiders tend to build their webs at 5 foot and above, yeah? And I was walking along one day, minding my own black business, and I walked right into a spider's web, yeah? And I was like, and as I was doing that, yeah, a police car pulled up right next to me. Yeah, he got out of the car, he said, where'd you stash the crack, yeah? Fair dues, from the back, I do look like I'm doing this. And I said to the officer, I wasn't throwing crack away. I was just brushing the spider web off. He said, you black boys and your spider web excuses. I've heard that twice today. I'm like, twice? And so he goes, have you got anything on you that's sharp and may hurt me during this search? I say, yes. He reaches back for his taser and he goes to me, what have you got on you that may hurt me? I say, my dance moves, and dabbed on him. And so the officer that was searching me knew I was dancing, knew I was having a joke here, but the officer inside the car, he called for SO19, yeah? And they're the police officers with guns, yeah? And they surround me, and you know what happens when a black man is surrounded by white policemen with guns? Other black people just emerge, you know? And they started to emerge, and they started to misquote Martin Luther King, you know? Just saying, oh, emancipation population. I'm like, that's not what it's used for, you know? And I told them guys, look, go back inside, go inside your house. You're not helping, because they were actually drug dealers. You know, I just came from their house, you know? Yeah, so, and the thing is now, I'm sitting there, I'm looking out, I see one of my friends, he's already got my face on a t-shirt. So I'm thinking to myself, that's a bit forward thinking. And I remember why he's wearing that t-shirt, because he was at my stag do, you know? Yeah, because I've been married, yeah? And the reason why I say been married, because that's where it ended up, you know? And so they finished the search now, and the officer in charge said, listen, yeah, if you tell us a joke, yeah, and we laugh, we'll let you go, yeah? But if you don't, you get banged up for 24 hours, yeah? So I said, okay then. I said, all right, let's shake on it. So he went to shake on it now. I moved my hand back before he could grab it, yeah? He said to me, well, that wasn't very funny or original. And I said to him, well, according to the Guinness Book of Records, that is the first time a black man had left a white policeman hanging.
Humour in a very witty way to demonstrate prejudices and stereotypes. So I see you as a human rights activist. You're one of my, I'm not oldest by age, but one of my longest serving friends from comedy. How did we meet? Do you remember?
Yes, I do, because it was at a Blackout event.
Blackout is a gong show. It's
Yeah.
very, very stressful. We started very stylish, our friendship. And so what happened?
Well, you know, you were, because you get like 2 minutes grace period, and then you get 3 minutes where people can vote you off. And you were up there, and it didn't go according to plan.
Nope.
You know, and then after I went up there and finished my set, and I just...
He smushed it.
Yeah.
He smushed it.
Thank
Hated him.
But I came off and I saw you did in there, just like looking bad for yourself, you know. So I came over there and I said, listen, everyone fails their first time. You know, you've got to like, if you're starting anything new, you have to allow yourself to be shit. You have to allow yourself to be crap.
I was. I don't take offense to that. You're brutally honest. I love that.
Yeah.
I can grow from shit
Yeah.
to good enough.
Look,
It's good enough.
I was shit. I failed the first time.
That's
you
it.
know?
Nice. But I needed to hear it.
Yeah.
That was so nice. Compassion was there. Connection. Amazing. And do you want to see it from my perspective? I was still talking about stereotypes and prejudice. I walked off the set. The host was amazing. He said, whatever happens up there, is this your first time? Yeah. He was like, carnage. He already saw it coming. And I chose the wrong material. I didn't collect with the crowd. I didn't have that kind of, I couldn't read the room properly, which you could. So you kind of pick who's sitting there. You kind of identify their special features. You can connect better. Thanks. So you tailor your jokes. But I walked off, and I remember as I got off, there was a group of about 7, 8 guys, 25 to 35 something. White, male, middle classes. Some of them public school boys. And like really not letting me in. They've closed the circle. I can't even, they didn't go, yeah, that was okay, whatever. It was the circle closed. Body language was very closed. This is the club. You ain't getting in it. And then I saw one guy standing against the wall, just watching the whole room. I know, I've been in the war situations. You stand against something solid when you are actually watching other people. When you're in fight or flight response, body posture with something solid behind, is very strong. I read the room. Who knew? You know, I like this guy. I don't feel threatened by him. He's had some streetwise experiences. So I felt more comfortable joining 6'4" black guy that I haven't met more because I was new to London and stuff, rather than 7'8", non-authentic kind of guys that I couldn't read, that didn't want me there. And I formed the opinion of the comedy circuit that was very similar to yours. It is full of prejudice, it is full of closed circles.
Yeah.
How do you cope within the comedy circuit knowing this about it and stay balanced and stay unaffected and rock?
Is like I was taught from a very young age is you can only control the things that you do, and you only can deal with things the way you can. You know, you can't measure yourself up to someone else. They deal with this that way.
Yeah.
You know, they deal with it that way. You don't know how to deal with it, but all you need to know is that you're in control of how you deal with it.
Yes.
You know, so at the end of the day, I just said to myself, you know, just help people when you can, but leave those who you can't.
Yes. Yes.
You know?
Because you can only help people who want to help themselves.
Yeah. You know,
So who do you compete against in the comedy circuit?
me.
Oh. The dog. Wings. Got it. Brilliant. Okay. Welcome, darlings. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much. That was quite the welcome for us, wasn't
I
it?
know. What makes your relationship strong? Now, you know, you work together, you have a child together. What would you say good? Because I've also seen you disagree. What makes your relationship authentic, resilient and strong?
I think between James and I, we've just always really honest with each other. So we didn't ever have to hide anything from each other, you know. So we got to know each other very quickly, I suppose. But as a result of that, it was kind of like everything was on the table, all our past history, whatever we've been and done.
You have a past?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Not much before him, but yeah.
So what would you advise? Because this is, you run world championships. That's a big responsibility because you have people judging you all over the place. You are there. You are standing strong. I remember the last world championship was actually in Southampton, Britannia Open titles. You had what, about 150 couples?
So running a comp of that magnitude is pretty tough, actually. And the thing with what we do, we're independent. So we're completely independent in terms of running our comp. We don't have any support. We don't have any sponsors of any kind, really. Everything has to be of quality because we want it to be a quality event. It's very easy to run something in a community hall that is substandard, but we don't want to do that. We want to bring something of a higher standard to people, and so they appreciate the quality. Well, they get to appreciate the quality.
So you are the quality brand.
Yeah, we like to think so, and we try to put part of ourselves into it as well, and to make it certainly a much better experience. And the thing that obviously is free, we talked about love is free. We do try and do it with love. But unfortunately, some people charge for that sort of service.
What is your strategy when you're kind of dealing with that kind of pressure? Because I've seen you be, for example, when you decided not to discriminate against anybody in the world. That's a very big statement. And discrimination, we are facing this in all the industries. And you got my superb respect. You had it before. But standing there strong for just saying, you know what, we are going to treat all people equally. If we have no evidence of them committing any crimes, anything like that, innocent until proven guilty, and well done for that. I really appreciated it. And then people were like really nasty, almost kind of internet abuse.
Well, in that particular instance that we had earlier this year when we ran our competition, of course, the thing is, if you take no side, you're taking the opposite side, aren't you?
That's right.
To the people that
you are
looking-
opposition. Yes.
Because we're not taking a side. We must then be for the other side.
That's right.
Which is nonsense,
Assumption.
of course. Nonsense, because no one that comes to our events, or any event really, has anything to do with any political matters. They just want to dance. And dance should...
Thank you.
Dance comes out of love, and it should be love we're expressing. And
love in any hard form.
Yeah.
Just making sure that we have qualified that.
Yeah. And so we don't want to stop that. We want everyone to come and express themselves and have the opportunity to dance.
Yes.
And so by not taking any sides, that we got a bit vilified. And yeah, it was difficult. But the best way to deal with
victimised and vilified. Yeah.
Yeah, the way that I dealt with that was I just ignored it.
Yeah. Okay. That's nice. I like naughty children.
Well, put it this way. I've got no idea what's going on outside at the moment. I can get myself all very worked up about a situation outside, but I don't know it's happening. So if you take yourself away from it, you can't get yourself stressed about it. Don't think about it. Don't put any energy into it, because it's only going to bring you down, and it's negative energy.
That's
and
right.
unfortunately, negative energy is often more powerful than positive energy.
Yes.
And it can destroy you.
Yeah,
it can pollute you.
Yeah,
and
it takes them longer to come up.
Yeah, it takes
from
you onto
there.
a negative downward spiral, and
That's
and we didn't want to do that, because ultimately we wanted to do it from the best intentions. So we wanted to avoid all that stuff completely.
Yes.
I deal with it a bit better than Kelly, and I think Kelly probably would express herself better.
I'm quite a sensitive soul, I think.
Yeah.
And I can have a tendency. It's just about recognizing how you react to things. So I've learnt just by acknowledging when I feel certain emotions that I am really sensitive. I can tend to take things almost personally when sometimes I don't need to. So with a situation like that, or anything to do with our business, I've learnt that actually it's not necessarily about me. So something that I still work on a lot, but I realise now that as long as I know who I am, I know my truth, I don't need to validate myself or prove myself to anyone else. I know I'm a nice, good person and try to be that way. If other people think I'm not because I'm not sort of discriminating against whoever, then that's up to them. And I'm learning quite quickly to not let it bother me, because I know who I am. And the people that matter to me know who I am. And that's all I need.
So what's the plan for next year? How do you plan, and what are the beautiful things that you're doing? Because you do podcasts, you do world dance competitions, you travel the world, dancing, pro-am, coaching, judging. I mean, you are everywhere.
What are we doing next year? Well, lots.
Yes.
So lots and lots and lots. So we're involved in our comp again. So we're running that in April next year. So we've got
That's the Britannia
Open
title
Championships.
Oh my God, you were promoted.
It's going to be changed to Britannia Open Championships now.
Championships, because you host world.
Well, we've got a World Championships, and we've also got a European Championships on the same weekend. So we've got the Juvenile World Ballroom and Latin, which is under 12s, and then we've also got the European Professional Latin Championships. So it's quite the spectacle of the weekend.
Yes.
Lots of things going on. We haven't finalised things. It's been quite tricky for us, because I'll try and summarise as quickly as I can. For 95 years, there's been an organisation that's been in charge of dancing in England, called the British Dance Council. They have, in recent years, become less and less suitable for the job, let's say. They haven't necessarily served their members quite as well as they could have done. They've made some mistakes and that sort of thing. So in recent time, just recently, last few months, a new association has started up called the BDSA, the British Dance Sport Association.
Okay.
We have now attached ourselves and associated ourselves with the new association. And that comes with it problems. Because if you associate with a new organisation or a new governing body, let's say, the current governing body aren't very happy about it. And they then give you a bit of grief and a bit of hassle about it. So our World Championships was looking like it was going to become an unsanctioned event. So we wouldn't be allowed to run it without people being penalised. So that, I think, has changed now. So that's what we've been overcoming recently. So we've not been able to plan anything for the comp yet, because we didn't know whether we were going to be able to run it or not. Okay. We're also doing committee work for the BDSA.
Yes.
We've got our own committee that we set up earlier this year called the PADC, which is for pro-am dancers. So it's to give pro-am dancers like yourself a voice. So we're constantly doing dance stuff. We've got our own events in our studio and that sort of thing, running those things all the time, bringing people in, doing beginner classes and private lessons and things like that. But we're also working on, I've got my own podcast, which is driving with dancers. So I get in the car and I talk to dancers, and we drive around wherever they live and have a little chat. So I've done 8 episodes of that so far.
Who is your latest guest?
My latest was Carmen. So Carmen, 9-time world champion.
Carmen Vincel, the Croatian superstar.
Croatian-German.
Croatian-German, that's
Yeah.
right.
And I mean, Kelly will tell you what she's working on as well. She's got another project that she's doing, which is Kelly's Health Club.
Let's mention that, because you're into holistic health.
So basically, for the last couple of years, because I was struggling a lot with a lot of anxiety and depression, and, you know, with that comes other health issues. So...
Why?
Sorry?
Why were you suffering?
What, the anxiety and depression? Lots of reasons. It wasn't just one thing. It was, for me, it was lots of things that had accumulated over the years. And I think actually looking back, I was probably quite anxious as a child, but was never given the skills to learn how to deal with it. So I learned in my own way, obviously growing up, but it wasn't necessarily helping me or serving me. So I had to then decide for myself what I was going to do about it. So yeah, after all the sort of lockdown experience and life was going to go back to what it was, I thought I can't carry on like that because I'm just not going to function properly. So I enrolled in a course. It was called Self-Love Club. And I know it's a lovely title, isn't it? A lot of people are like, oh, self-love and all that sort of thing. But, you know, it is so important. And we shouldn't cringe when we hear that. You know, we should be comfortable, and it should be made comfortable. So, yeah, I did a 12-month course with this lovely soul called Lucy Davis, and you know, she really turned my mindset around. I mean, she works with people for all sorts of things. It might be addiction, it might be you know, people with cancer, all sorts of things. So she helps them. And of course, for me, it was just more the mental health side of things, and it changed me a lot. You noticed the change in me, and I stopped letting my excuses get in the way of doing things, you know, of getting out for a walk and all this stuff that I would dismiss. So as part of Dizzyfeet, because obviously you know, we teach a lot of people, and when you're aware of yourself and the things that you struggle with, you suddenly become aware of it in other people, don't you? You suddenly go, oh, I can tell that you're perhaps struggling a little bit. And I'm not going to make a big thing of it, but you know, you can sense it in other people. So I decided to start this little health club just to kind of give little tips on things of what I've experienced and get people to share. So it's only really small at the moment. It's only just started, but it's a way to sort of encourage people to look after themselves a little bit better. What I've realized is that it's everything. It's not just what you say to yourself, it's also how you look after yourself, what you put in your body, the nutrition. You know, I take really high quality supplements now, so I'm sharing those with people just to say, look, these really work. It's really, really good for you, because, you know, the food and everything these days is just not what it should be. And then, yeah, meditating and just trying to normalize these things, because really we should all be doing it. But people sort of think, oh, it doesn't really work, does it? It's like, yeah, it does.
I don't do my shoulds, actually. That's interesting. I do my shouldn'ts.
Yes.
So when you say, oh, we should all be doing it, I'm kind of thinking, I can do this. Immediately translate in my mind. Because also understanding your own self-talk.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
and
so being aware of your language.
The way that you perceive it as a positive instruction to your brain. Interesting. That's what NLP teaches you. But yes, and also you are pillars of your community. I've seen you work. I'm a member of your club. I'm part of the Southampton community. I've seen the good work that you do. You are therapists. You wear different hats.
It's like hairdressers, isn't it?
Yes.
So people go for a haircut and then they tell everything to their hairdresser, and you know, it's just a voice. It's an opportunity for people to vent and air out their feelings, and we do that. We do have that in our lessons and things, of course. But one of the best things you can do is move. One of the absolute best things, and moving takes many forms, and dance is one of them, of course. And it's not just moving; it's moving to music as well. So there's an emotional attachment to that as well, of course, and choosing the right music and doing the right movements. It is a therapy. Dancing is absolutely a therapy, and people can do it for many reasons. There's many reasons to dance, but one of them should be to use it as a stress reliever. Yes, absolutely, because it's a beautiful thing, as you well know.
Shall I show you some postures, and you tell me what association comes in your mind. I will act them out here in front of you.
This sounds like fun.
Okay.
Yeah, laugh as much as you will like.
Charades.
Tribal.
That's hacker.
Aha.
Hacker, hocker.
Grounding.
It's always surprised me, though, why the New Zealanders can do the hacker at the beginning and no one else can do anything. They just have to stand and watch. The English should do a little Morris dance, shouldn't they?
Thank you.
They should bring out a little pole with some bells around their ankles and some tambourines. It wouldn't be the same, but I think the opposition would think, look at these pansies.
Now
this is going to be easy. Yeah.
Right. And river dance. Oh my.
They wouldn't like the river dancing though, would they, too much? Because you'd ruck up the ground so much.
Oh, right. Loving it. Loving it. So, yes, maybe we can actually work something out that comes from Dizzyfeet and goes back home that you bring home. Or it could be Morris dancing.
I have no influence in the rugby. I'm not sure that would go very far.
Well, at least you have demonstrated why we are good friends. Because it's always fun talking to you.
I only travel. I've got a few different prime students. I only travel with two.
Who are their names?
Well, one of them is a lady called Hillary. She's fine. She's easy to travel with. She's super easy. And I hardly see her. I see her on the plane, or in the car on the way to the airport, on the plane. And then I don't see her again until we dance. And then I see her on the plane and in the car on the way home. So she's super easy. And the other person I travel...
She's the oldest recorded competitive dancer.
She's not, actually.
Oh my...
She's
who is
not.
older?
There's a lady called Mary. I can't remember her surname.
Mary.
And she's 93.
Wow.
Hillary's
Hail
86.
Mary.
Hillary's
Hail
86.
Mary, yes.
Yeah. But Hillary does a lot of comps and she goes abroad and that sort of thing. But Mary doesn't do quite so much. But no, there's a lady who's 93, which is a great testament to what we do. Great in dancing, isn't it?
And they look amazing. They look amazing. Sequins and dresses, oh my.
But the other person I travel with is you.
How is that for you?
Entertaining. Let's be honest, it is entertaining. And I'm very comfortable to travel with you, actually. Yeah. And I don't travel with anyone else. So I don't really want to travel with anyone else. But no, I do travel with you, and it's okay. It's fun. We have some time. We have a time, don't we? Went and saw some alligators, didn't we?
We did
in Tampa.
Yeah, in Tampa. Yes, Clearwater.
Yeah.
We did. Who was like, "Oh, should we go and jump?" And then they come. You see just their eyes.
Just see this little nose pop up as well in the eyes.
Yeah. Oh, that.
They were great though on those airboats. It was fab, wasn't it? Fab. Not great for the hair though. Because literally yours was...
It was my authentic hair.
It was a full head of something about Mary, wasn't it? A full head of that.
Yes, I do use the same hair gel.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
Who's your supplier? You don't get that in Boots, do you?
No.
Or
it's
Superdrug?
Organic.
Is it organic? You got an organic producer at the end of the road,
right.
yeah?
Yes. So let's show the good posture for the ending of this episode. How do you adopt the good posture?
Do you want to tell her or shall I? How about you? Okay, I'll tell her. Right. Stick your tits out, stick your ass out. That's it. There you go. Done. It's that easy.
Tits up.
If you think about in biomechanics, the
Tits
sternum.
up.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like
Not
body
continuously.
report. Okay. Tits up.
Just that's it. So your sternum is the furthest forward part of your body, and your buttocks are the furthest back part of your body.
That's
Accentuate your body's natural curves, and there you go.
Do you keep 50 pence between your cheeks? Yeah. No.
£5 note.
£5 note. Add a better value, I reckon. Yes, I love that. And also, I learned something else from my other mentor, Paul McKenna. One thing to do daily that actually helps you feel a bit more positive, as well as your affirmations, meditation and stuff, is to keep your head still. And I'm going to add something to you. And actually move your eyes up, and repeat that every morning.
Exercising.
Look in the mirror, do your facial expressions and go, you are good enough. You are good enough. And tomorrow something awesome will happen to you because you will make it happen. That's it. Thank you very much. We've been James and Kelly Prouton, and you've seen our lovely comedians Sharon Jackson, Dan Stevens, and Emmanuel Griffiths. And I've been Gordana, Micic, your host. Thank you so much.